Hi guys, this is Alison Corey. This is Radical Decider, and we are back. I just switched my furniture. I'm in the process of switching my furniture around to make everything like more eco-friendly. So that's like what's going on in my life right now. So there's kind of like a lot of different switching back and forth. But I just put in my new bed, and it's a like an organic mattress, Japanese style mattress. So there's no spring. So if you guys want more information about that kind of stuff, I'd love to maybe like give you a tour of all the stuff that I'm getting, kind of replacing everything with organic furniture and non-toxic kind of stuff, because it makes me feel good. So I always think vote with your dollar, right? Like just if you can, I like to support, well, at least me, I like to support companies that are doing really cool stuff. So all right, today's video is going to be about not companies that are doing cool stuff, just doing the right thing and like using organic materials and kind of trying to like, preserve the environment in ways that, like by using non-toxic materials and things like that. So anyway, today's video is going to be more like a ranty video. It's going to be motivation. It's going to be my biggest success story. And, that's separate from third party gone. Okay, so then I'm going to say like what I think the key was to getting my third party gone when the second to last time I recreated my SP, I actually had a third party situation as well, and they were living together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how I got that situation to turn around in literally a week. So and that's still not my biggest success. So I'm going to talk about all that and then just kind of give you a little bit of motivation. Hopefully it's kind of going to be not a very long video today. So yeah, I just wanted to start in with the fact that I'm not a straight Neville channel. I think there was a comment about a couple of videos back about how just the idea that I've not done all Neville things. Like one of the things I was mentioning is not really Neville, and I'm not all Neville. I love him, but I'm basically just speaking from my own experience. So it's really not just Neville, right? It's really like what's worked for me, like the biggest things that I've found, and I really just am doing this channel just to sort of help you release your limitations, and also to just show you what I did, and to save you time too, because I had been doing this for so long, and there was a lot of times where I felt like I was struggling right through the process of this stuff, and I had the wrong ideas for a while, and I felt like I could save people time if I talked about some of the stuff, like my trials and tribulations and things that I learned along the way that kind of took me longer to learn some of the stuff, So anyway, I'm going to start with a rant about taking your power back, okay? It's just something that I wrote this morning, and it's the things that I try to remind myself of when I'm trying to stick to my new story, right? The new delusion, the new state, trying to stay in, living in the end, and doing all that no matter what you're creating, if it's an SP, if it's a new job, if it's a new house, if it's a new living environment, whatever you are creating new in your life, this should help. Like this is like the baseline for everything, right? So so starting with a little bit of motivation, okay, and then I'll move on to the next stuff. So this is me writing, right? This is not me copying or writing. Oops. This is not me. She kicked something. This is not me copying. This is just my notes. I love writing things down, so I write a lot. So I am deciding for myself, regardless of what others think or what the norm is. This life is meant for me to decide. I'm taking the reins and making powerful decisions. Every time I make a decision, I enter a new state. Even if I sink back to the old state, I can catch it and reaffirm the new state easily. I look at everything through a loving, self-supporting filter. I don't see anything as bad, wrong, or done to me. I know my responsibility in this, and I'm willing to fully step into my role as the center of everything happening in my life. Things happened to me as a kid that I was not responsible for, but now that I know all of this and how to change it, I am taking responsibility for my life right now. Those things that happened were not my fault, but now I'm so grateful I have the opportunity to change my belief system no matter how crappy it was before. And no matter how many negative things influenced my beliefs, I have the power to change them now. It's just a good reminder and just helpful to always constantly kind of like remind yourself that you are taking the power back always. Like in any situation, if you're presented with anything negative or wrong circumstance, something you don't like, somebody says something you're not a fan of, anything like that, you always need to remind yourself that you are at the helm of everything, right? So that's one thing. Okay, so moving on. So that was a little bit of a ranty thing. I also wanted to talk about the fact that we'll move on to my biggest success story. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about radical self-acceptance as well through self-concept. Since I'm on that page, we'll just do that one first. So I just wanted to say, doing self-concept work allows you or puts you in a state of radical self-acceptance. At least that's what I have found from doing the self-concept work, like really deep core issue self-concept work, which has helped me immensely. And I basically talk about it in every video, but it really has given me radical self-acceptance. And I'll just read a little bit about that because I wrote in like my journal about that this morning as well. So radical self-acceptance with self-concept: trusting yourself, knowing yourself, being okay with everything about yourself, knowing your particulars, being unafraid to ask for exactly what you want and what you are worth, knowing your worth beyond a shadow of a doubt, putting your faith in yourself, being influenced by no one, accepting no opinions unless it is approved by you, taking nothing in unless it's certified worthy by you. If you do self-concept to the nth degree, to the point of radical self-acceptance, I believe you could never get cancer. Okay, that's a bold statement, but I actually do truly believe that. I think like disease, obviously, it's all caused by the mind, right? So if you fully do self-concept to the point where you have like, you just believe in yourself completely and you have no influence, like these outside influences have no effect on you anymore, I truly believe like you'd never get cancer. And that's, I know it's bold, but that's literally what I believe. And you can choose to obviously take what resonates for you out of everything that I'm saying, right? I literally am just speaking from my experience. So it's just what I believe, right? So, and I'm sure, like, I just want to say that too, I'm sure I have limitations, right? Like you can pick out my limitations. Every book that I read, I feel like people have limitations, right? No one's exactly perfect. Everyone's got their own little limitations or things they're not willing to change, right? Like I know I have beliefs that I'm not willing to change that do like work for me, right? So some of them I'm aware of and I just don't want to change them. But anyway, that's another story for another time. Okay, so that's about radical self-acceptance. So now I'm going to go into the next page is about my success stories. So, or like my greatest success story. And I'm just going to read it because it's easier. And I know when I write something down, sorry, I'm like flipping through looking for it. When I write something down, it's so much easier for me to, let's see, it's so much easier for me to just read from it instead of, like try to say it again, you know, differently. And I usually end up I'm not saying it correctly. So let's see. Yes, I went from living in my car and constant stress about money, and even though I could afford an apartment, I was just so afraid of being poor. I saved every dime I made, right? I was OCD about money. I also had severe so I was OCD about money. Now I'm way more relaxed. I live in a great place. These were great accomplishments. But getting rid of constant anxiety about what others were thinking about me, which came from living with a critical parent my whole childhood. Like when you live with a volatile parent, a parent who's like criticizing you constantly, you, at least I developed like kind of like a complex about others thinking negatively about me, right? And it affected everything, my relationships, even my work relationships, right? Like if I had a boss that was a male boss, I would always think they were thinking negatively of me, just simply because of my relationship with my dad and how I was always criticized and always like told I was doing something wrong, right? Or felt like I was always doing something wrong too. So that by far was my biggest manifestation, biggest accomplishment ever, even though I did all these other things. Like I changed my body, I got my SP back several times, you know, there was so many different creations that I was able to fix and shift my self-concept about throughout my life, or throughout these like 15 years or 10 years that I found law of assumption. So but still, that anxiety that was constantly with me, that sort of gave me these OCD tendencies, these overthinking, constant spiraling thinking. I even drank a lot I basically drank pretty much every day for a really long time. Not a lot, but I would drink 1 or 2 drinks just to like kind of take the edge off. And I told myself it was normal, but like drinking every day now, in the state that I'm in now, doesn't seem normal, right? It seemed like I was running away from my fears, which was exactly what I was doing, right? So this by far was the biggest like manifestation I've ever done, because it gave me a sense of peace in my life. Like it made me so calm and relaxed, and I no longer pull out my hair. I also used to pull out my hair. My hair got really thin at one point. Now it's all growing back. Like it looks like it's growing back, right? Like, or it's getting a lot thicker than it was, but my hair was like really thin on top, especially because I would just literally pull my hair out just from anxiety. So it affected a lot of my life, you know, just having this sort of underlying anxietous thinking, right? And I think a lot of us, if we pay attention, that a lot of people do have that for various reasons, right? So that was literally my biggest accomplishment. So and then I go on to say, if you deal with any kind of anxiety, please know you're not alone and you can fix this. Start now. Choose every day to be rid of it. Change your thoughts every day to empowering ones. Remind yourself who's in charge here. You are not your crappy thoughts. That's not who you are now, and you can change them. Do it every day. The process should feel good too. It's a win-win, total transformation, feeling calm in your life and feeling good while you're doing it. And and I say here, your new thoughts should feel really good, right? It should feel good to switch your thoughts, right? Because you're switching your thoughts to something that's really amazing and empowering. Okay, so I just wanted to say that, like, out of everything I've ever done to transform my life, literally getting rid of my anxiety was the best, by far, the best manifestation I've ever accomplished. Okay, so I literally feel calm. I don't pull out my hair. I don't have a drinking problem. I'm not hiding from all my fears. I literally had an anxietous track all the time running in the back of my mind, even though while I was working, while I was doing everything. Okay, so now I'm going to go into third party. The second to last time, I think it was like, I don't know how many years, like maybe 6 years ago, I was creating my SP again, and I found out we had gotten in a huge fight. I had left. I still was dealing with some like residual fears from the past, not wanting to get married, not feeling comfortable, thinking marriage was a trap, things like that, right? And I had left, and we got in a huge fight, and he told me he was going to see other people, and I got scared about that, right? I didn't like immediately revise it. Anyway, the point is, I didn't know he was seeing someone, but when I got back, he was living with an SP. And I believe the one thing that changed everything, I did affirm for it as well, but the situation changed in literally a week, and that person moved out it was less than 7 days, I remember. And less than 7 days from the moment I found out that they were living together and he was with someone, right? And even my sister made a comment on it, because she was like really like very involved with the situation at the time, because we were really talking about it quite a bit. But and the number one reason I believe that happened so quickly was my self-concept. Like bar none, it was my self-concept. It was me changing my fully changing my idea of myself. That's why I always talk about the power of doing self-concept work. And that's why, like, I just feel like it's the lubricant. It's like the grease that makes everything go easier. Like, you could literally decide on something, and if you have a good self-concept, it's so much easier to create that, right? If you decide that it's going to happen, right? And you already have a good self-concept, it can make things go so quickly. So that's literally the reason I believe I got rid of a third party that quickly, okay? I think that's all. I'm not trying to make this video too long. Let's see. I just wanted to leave you with this, okay? I'm gonna, this is sort of like I just want to tell you guys this because this has come up a lot with people thinking they create other people's dying, like other people dying. And no matter what you believe, this is a non-denominational channel, right? I'm not like excluding anyone. If you're Christian, if you believe God is outside of you, if you believe God is in you, if you believe you are co-creating with God, it doesn't matter. The only thing I want you to know is at the beginning of this, I was scared at the beginning of my journey, learning about creating my life. I was scared that I had influence over people's death, but I did a lot of discovery on this, and I went to mediums. Like when my grandmother passed, I went to a few different mediums and found out that it is literally a choice. You can either believe it's a choice you make before you get here, or you can believe it's like your choice with God, or you can believe it's just up to you. But it's literally, we have no influence over animals' death, over our parents' death, over our siblings' death, over our friends' death. It's literally their choice to leave at the time that they choose. And I learned all of this stuff by going to mediums and actually speaking, having literal conversations with my grandmother. That's another thing. You don't go anywhere. You literally just, it's like, I've heard people say this before, but it's like switching rooms. It's like going from the living room to the dining room. That's it. Dying is like that. So you're not dying, you're just losing the body. Your spirit stays, right? You stay living, and you can still talk to all the people that have like gone from the living room to the dining room, right? They've switched, transitioned, you know, and they're somewhere else, but they're still here. They're still here. So don't worry. And please don't worry about the fact that you could accidentally cause someone to die, or your negative thoughts could cause someone to die, because that was a huge issue I had at the very beginning, trying to learning all this stuff. I thought like, oh no, and I was so scared of I was super scared that I would create someone dying, and I was always so fearful of that. So it's like good to really know that you can't do that, okay? So I just wanted to leave you with that, because I really, that's why I'm making this channel, so that I can like save you time and reduce your worries, reduce your fears, get you to be even more unlimited, things like that, okay? So if you loved it, thumbs me up. I had a question too, if you guys would want me to do outfit of the days on the shorts. I don't know. Anyway, it's just an idea. Maybe you guys can give me feedback on that. I thought I might do that, like just once in a while. But anyway, so if you loved it, thumbs me up. If you love Neville and law of assumption and transformation and changing a life, stick around. I'd love to have you guys. Bye guys.